Okay, tracking the progress on the new CX500 barn find thing. It wasn't really a barn find. It was a trailer park find with a lot of awesome hot rods in it. I swear, there was like a Chevy Nova jacked up with snow tires on it. Those fucking people know what they're doing. And this guy had a really sweet bike. This lady, poor girl. Anyway, I discovered, I moved the bike back, but that oil leak right there is coming from the top of the front of the crankcase. Not a big deal, but I feel like for what I got this for, you know, I had to keep expecting that I was going to find things wrong with it. I don't know if this is exactly the fork. Probably is fork oil. The fork seals probably are leaking. That's not a big deal. I swear to God, I'm constantly redoing fork seals. Well, oh, and that's cracked too, but that's not such a big deal. But I'm like constantly doing fork seals. It's an ongoing process. I did the one on the Goldwing and it's freaking leaking. So anyway, back to this. The other main thing. Oh, I sync the carburetors, so she sings really good now. There's very little hesitation on the throttle now. Any other hesitation might just be because the battery is weak, because that battery won't turn on the headlight. That battery hooked up to my car battery will almost start it. Hook up the charger to it, and then it starts boom right up. You know, it doesn't give a fuck. But I synced the carburetor and it got rid of like almost all the hesitation. So I think it's just not enough. If you don't have enough voltage and amps and shit like that going on, then you don't get a strong spark either. I know that because I changed the dog bone in the Goldwing and it ran like 1,000 times better as soon as I did that even. Alright, not 1,000 times better, like twice as good. But I gotta get this thing off because it is like stuck. I could barely push the thing when I get on it. So I'm gonna make a quick little video on maybe, what do you call it? Refurbishing your your brake caliper. This caliper is not very complicated. I've been working with the CX500 calipers. I've done like 4 of them, maybe 5 of them. Caliper like rebuilds. Put a couple new pistons in, shit like that. So I kind of know what I'm doing. Unless I forget to bring my goddamn hammer over. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. Well, here's my plan. I'm gonna crack this bleeder just so that it gives it an opportunity to loosen up. Because if I pulled the brake, it would want to stop it if I had it in a roll. That's if I could get it rolling. But if I do this, it'll help me get thank God. I had a rash of bleeder valves that got stuck. And I'm going to put a cap on that. I love putting caps on those things because, frankly, I find it very disappointing when you can't fucking keep it clean, you know, it's not clean and it's all jacked up. And where is that a 13 or a 12? I want to crack it with this, but I'm not going to unhook it because if I want to get the piston out, which is what I got to do to clean it, I'm going to want to keep pressure on it. And I don't want to get air introduced into the system. That doesn't feel good at all. Oh shit. Okay, because I don't want to shear off the bolt, I'm going to do a loosen and a tighten. I already, like yesterday, I've been soaking these bolts with penetrating oil. It's good to back things off. It's probably this part right here I gotta get some juice into. But I didn't get any in there because think about it, the threads aren't in here. The threads are in here. This boot looks really good. What's it look like in there? A little gross.
designer Sam Schwartz, author of the new book No One at the Wheel. He says the driverless car of the future won't look like cars today.
I'm just gonna assume that the one at the top needs some juice too. I should have pulled these boots over and made sure it was getting in there. I'm a dumbass. How's this one going? Good. That one feels a little bit better.
And gridlock, a term he popularized. That's coming up on Fresh Air.
Okay. That one's good. This one here, I don't know. There we go.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Spear. President Trump says he'll be
It's got a tight spot on it.
soon on the new chief of staff.
I'm assuming that means that there's rust abundant on it. Or, I literally sheared off the bolt in it. No, you can't, because these aren't, oh, hey, wait a minute, you know what, I think, I can't remember how this works. These are like slider pins, also. Oh, no, okay. This holds it on, I forget what the slider pin is, I forget what slides, so that's good. Yeah, these aren't slider pins. Why isn't it coming out? I wonder if the bolt did shear off in there. Oh, bitch. Bitch. That would suck. Hold on a second. I need to get a couple. Okay, I'm back at it. I'm gonna leave that alone for a minute. I mean, I got it loose, but clearly it just keeps going and going and going. I don't know what that means. I wouldn't think that this would have. Oh. Alright, I think it's. I don't know. Oops. Because threads go into this part. And it's. Oh. Okay, this right here is not a round bolt. It's like flat, like that. And it's supposed to stop from turning by hitting this, so it's just kind of a little fucked up now. Maybe because it's loose, but it just moved the whole. It's fine, I'll get it. It just means that I gotta take the whole thing off, which I kinda had to do anyway. Oops. It's a good looking caliper, it's not even fucked up or dirty or anything. A little bit smashy. Yeah, there we go. Oh, 10 millimeter right there. 10 millimeter speedo stay. This is the top of what goes behind the speedo cable to hold it up in there. The speedo is missing on this thing, so it just kind of like slowly fell. Take that off. Just get it out of the way. Frankly, I should just remove it, but it's not going to really be in the way for too long. I don't want it on there. Just gotta get the right angle right here. It feels real badass when I'm just like hammering away on it, like, I know what I'm doing. Doing what I'm doing. Did I tell you about the time I took one of these and I bought an extra left fork and I put it on my other CX and I made it into a dual caliper? Yeah, I did it. There's a lot of fucking around. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. She's fucking. If I loosen this, it'll give it an opportunity to, you know. Ugh, there we go. I'm gonna tighten it just to make sure. Oh, you know what I think it was? It was like basically rusted on. It might have loosened it slightly, but. Ooh, yeah, she came right off there. You see? There's a little mark from it. And those pads are still good. That's almost the exact thickness that they like need to be. But as you see all the rust on the back side of there, and it's right here. That pisses me off. I gotta figure out how to get this thing off of here, because that's the flat side I was talking about. And oh, I don't know if this struggle needs to be in the video. If I can figure out what that is. Is that a 14? No, of course. Something bigger. Let me find the right thing to get on there. Whoever said standard and metric aren't interchangeable. Looks like a 5/8 is what fits around there. So, that being said, let's see if I can. I've actually never ran into this problem before where these right here wouldn't come out. It wasn't even that stuck, and frankly it wasn't that bad either, but I've never had them not be stopped. Ugh, see? Because how rusty it was? It's fucked. Oop. And yeah, you'll see how rusty it was in there. I'm gonna have to. Oh, my ass is terrible tonight. This is awful. I don't know what I ate. Oh, it was that turkey soup. Just kind of get that WD-40 in there to break up the rust. I'll do something else to fix it. Oh, by the way, these things right here totally come out. These are. See? Just put some slide grease on it. But they move really good, so I don't even think I need to. Just make sure the rubber goes back over it. And it moves okay. It's supposed to. You're supposed to push it, and it's supposed to push back out because it gets like a vacuum on it. Because if you're pushing it in, it'll compress the air behind it. So maybe I'll put some new slide grease on it. Caliper grease. See, I got the rust off of there. Just about. I broke it up. I'll keep squirting more shit in there, and I'll wire brush this before I put it in, and of course put anti-seize lubricant on it. I know. Anti-seize lubricant on brakes, probably not the smartest thing to do. This is really clean, by the way. Like, I've never seen one that looked this good. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Doesn't look too bad. You really don't know until after you try to get the ring off. I'm gonna spray some WD, just so I'm not like cracking it. Somebody might have like just changed the brake pads before I got to this, because it was just inspected, and you know, somebody probably did whatever they could to get it on the road. This thing right here, you just push down on it, but oh, there you go. That falls out, and don't want to keep shit in there. That's what this is for. And there is shit in there. Yep. So I'm gonna push out this piston. Maybe I can find a support system for that and do a video of me squeezing it out. Okay, I know I could get the camera a lot closer and it'd be way easier to see, but I just need to prop this up and watch that. I'm gonna try to get where I can see it and squeeze on the brake. I should probably make sure there's fluid in it. Yeah, but let me just see if it moves at all. Oh, I can't fucking watch it. Oh, yep. Okay, so I'm going to crack open the reservoir. Actually, it might not even be seized, but no. It's worth it to take it apart, clean it, put it back together, because then you're almost guaranteed that it's going to work like 100 times better. If you just undo it and put it back together, you're going to be pissed at yourself because you wasted all that time. So I'm going to open up the reservoir and put in some more brake fluid, because you don't want to be squeezing on it and then have it run out and then start pushing air into the line, because then you got a whole new problem and there won't be enough pressure to push it out at all. But it looked like it moved really easily, which is good, positive. Cool. So A little bit of rust on this. I'll hit that with the wire brush. Not too much in there. These screws were fucking amazing. I've seen them completely covered in rust, and I've had to replace them before. I bought special ones one time. I think it's like a 4mm by 40mm, perhaps, something like that. 4mm wide. I don't know what pitch, like 1.0 pitch, something like that. But I got some brake fluid, and it wasn't too low. This guy actually must take care of his bike. It must have been in a garage too for a long time because it didn't look too bad. But I'll top it off because I'm gonna use a bunch of it, and then it's all gonna fucking fall out. But it'll have fresh shit in it by the time I get done. Right? I'm just gonna safely put this somewhere where I don't knock it over. I already knocked it over once, that's why the cap's fucked. Up, put the camera back so you guys can see the action. Yeah, come on, man, get in there. Okay. I think you can see what's going on. Oh man, I gotta get. Hold on a second, because it's gonna explode. I'm gonna get something there to catch it. Okay, so that might not be big enough to catch all of it, but I've used it before. Not too much will come out because there's like a vacuum on the back of the low. But that piston might just fall out and hit the goddamn floor. Let's take a look. Watching it.
Certainly the availability of other forms of transportation with the apps that you have today, the loans that they still
There it
have
goes.
in college make it difficult. There was also an interesting thing that I learned talking to millennials is they saw it as old-fashioned. They saw it from the back of the car.
Rubber fell off.
Grew up in suburbs.
Hope I didn't fuck up the rubber.
Saw very unhappy parents fighting over who's going to drive the kids to soccer practice and school and to the dentist and all of those things. And they didn't.
Still got fluid.
That's not a lifestyle that they want. So there's been a big.
Oh, there we go.
It doesn't mean the majority.
That was awesome.
Drive. The majority do drive, but it's gone from 90%.
Yeah, my little drip thinger worked pretty good.
Drop is like an earthquake in transportation.
And of course, bicycles have become much
Got
more
it all.
popular, but also millennials are
Look at that.
under Joe.
So this here,
Services like Uber and Lyft. And I'm wondering
I just
how
saw the crud around it.
app-based cars
What you look for is
affecting larger traffic
pitting.
patterns in
This
urban
looks like a
areas.
brand new fucking piston.
Yeah,
I don't see any pitting in there.
in the
Just
transportation
crud.
for a half century, I was in New York
A
City,
little bit of rust.
back in
Yep.
1968.
This part here is always rusty as fuck because it's sat like that.
Transportation
So,
evolved over time. I have never seen anything as rapid
whoa,
as
whoa,
we've seen
whoa.
in this decade.
Whoa.
So Uber and Lyft, we were caught flat-footed. All those of us in city planning, we never saw it coming. We never thought it would be as popular as it is.
Usually a little bit of blackish looking stuff in there.
Years of
And
service
this crud around here and here could make it catch. That right there. I'm going to take this apart and just go at it with the Dremel just a little bit. And you don't have to be too worried about fucking up the ring, but you do have to be careful. You know, just don't grind it right there, and don't bother prying out the ring. I've never actually had to replace the ring on them. You buy the full rebuild kit, and I don't really know why the hell you need to replace the ring. I've never had to do it, unless it was super loose and it was just oozing and leaking shit like all the time. Paint on there is pretty good. Only coming off a little bit right there. Alright, so I'm gonna oh fuck. A tip, something that I forgot. I probably should have broke that before I took it off. Or you know what? Since I'm not doing a full rebuild, I'll just keep it connected. So fuck that. Alright, let this droop here and continue catching the shit while I yeah, brake fluid's great. This part, I've already started doing some of the other stuff, but this is some caliper grease. And if you took apart this caliper, now this has got an L on it. If you've got dual caliper, it'll have an L and an R because it's on the left side right now. But the one that came out of the right side always has a little rubber in it. And that's a good thing to note. But this shit here will make a big difference. Oh, yep. Did you hear it squirting? I'm just waiting to. Just wait a second. I'm gonna get some shit on the other one because it's a little dry. I can see that it had like somebody put lithium grease in it. It's not the same. It's not the same shit. You need this shit. Fucking caliper grease. It's thick. It's like real grease. I got cows and stuff in it. So watch this. See that? It's pushing it back out. That is some of the reason why. See, it's still coming out. That's much better. Doesn't even want to go in all the way now. This is like the thing that pushes the other side of the pad off of the brake, and that's why it's very important to keep them clean and lubricated. It wasn't dirty at all, so I didn't clean it. But you don't want to put regular grease on it because it just doesn't do the same thing. And they should be even, but alright, maybe I did put too much on this one. Whatever. Squeeze. Almost. Yeah. There you go. I've done this before, and I had like a sticky piston or whatever. Oh, that isn't turning right. I don't know if I like this one. Oh, pfft, because this fucking piece of shit moved. It's not supposed to do that. There we go. Now it's good. Alright, you saw something else that could go wrong. If it's too stiff, take it apart, because it's not supposed to be moving like that. So now it's good. As long as it's loose. That's the big thing. It needs to move. That's it. They're done. I'm gonna set up the Dremel, grab it, and clean this bitch out. I'm gonna wipe it out and then Dremel it. So I'm just gonna wipe off brake fluid and WD. I've gotten all the way around it. You can take this thing out if you want. It's just a... Oh, he's alive. Holy shit. Hey, buddy. You picked a bad place to call home. I think I got him out. Yeah. Yeah, I found a huge spider that fell out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought he was dead. There was a spider, like, with a butt that big, who crawled out, who fell on the floor out of the bike. I thought he was dead. Oh, no. Dude, he's in here somewhere. That's creepy. Okay, alright. There's a big-ass spider somewhere in my fucking garage, and I'm gonna find that bitch somewhere. Oh, no. No. Alright, I will take this out, just so I can get right around this. Around this. Turn my headlamp too, 'cause that helps. So, look out for spiders in your nasty bike that's been in storage for fucking years. Oh my god, I'm really creeped out right now. In case you didn't realize, I have a huge spider phobia. Oh my god, that freaked me the fuck out, dude. He was so big. Where'd he go? I want to like look for him. I'm gonna die out here because it's so cold. Alright. Not too bad. Ooh. Let's say deposit his shit right down in there. Try and get it out first. Yeah, you just end up pushing around. You gotta make sure you don't push it into the hole. This is the little hole that goes to the brake line. That's the one that goes to the bleeder. And the bleeder is upright like that, which makes sense because you want air bubbles to come out. That's the whole reason why you bleed your brakes. So, I'm gonna put on glasses. I got brush. Going around the outside. Nope. Turn up the power. Maybe in here just a little bit. Not a big deal. Now that shit right there. Careful not to fuck up the gasket too much. You just want to clean the shit out. If you're going like this, in this circular direction, it won't fuck up the gasket too much. Alright, that might be all I need to do to this. Because, take off the fucking glasses, I can't see shit. If I go in there and wipe out, I'm getting... See? Rubber looks fine. Alright. That looks pretty good. Not too bad. Only a few little burrs on it. Alright, maybe I did fuck up the gasket a little bit. Or the rubber. What are you gonna call it? I think it's gasket. Okay. You can... Oh, by the way, I was looking at the brake pads, and I've never seen ones that had a copper coating on the back, which kind of makes me think these are like original pads, which is giving me a hint of how like cherry this bike really is. Well, maybe not original, maybe they're just like OEM, like original stock or something like that, but this bike runs so smooth. And the damn Speedo's not on it, so I have no fucking clue how low mileage it is. But I think it's got very low miles. I'm willing to bet that it's got like under 10,000 miles on it, which would be fucking great. So, anyway, this thing, you're gonna need a C-clamp to get it in all the way, but you can get it started with your fingers, and sometimes you can even push it in just with your fingers. Always start with a little bit of WD. And, oh shit, before I do that, you want to put this back in. Oh, I got this backwards, fuck. I think I got it backwards. Nope, I got it backwards that way, because this little tab goes into that notch. And it'll kind of click in a little bit when you get it right. I think. Oh, no, that's it. This just keeps the pads pushed down. That's it. Yeah, because it's not falling out. Alright, so it's still got WD on it. Maybe even spray some, like, in there. And get it around on that rubber. And the big thing is to make sure that you're pushing it straight in. Maybe twist it. If you're going in crooked, you're going to fuck it up. You got to go in straight. And you can kind of see, I'm going to put this thing up. You can see if it's going in straight. Okay, maybe I'm not strong enough to push it in. Okay, I'm going to get a C-clamp. Alright. Shit, I didn't want to knock over my bolts. But, just a general casualty. Getting brake fluid on your tire. I guess it's not good for plastics. But I've also heard people trying to use it to re-anneal stuff. I think brake fluid actually is safe for rubber. but it's bad for paint because I've totally watched it sit under paint, and that's why caliper paint falls off of calipers all the time. I got a rag, and I got a 3-inch C-clamp. I got the rag so I can protect the back side of the caliper, because this one's really nice. I don't want to jack it up too much. Sometimes you don't give a fuck, but I gotta get that into there and try to get it centered as much as you can. Because once again, you're trying to push the caliper in like center, you know? Ah, there you go. It was in a little bit crooked, but it'll pop and kind of go the right way. Now as you're doing this, it's actually doing something. It's pushing the fluid probably backwards. I don't really like doing that because I think you can fuck up the, like, squeeze the handle and then you let loose or whatever. If you're loose, it'll let air come out. So supposedly it can go backwards, but maybe loosen that to let the air come out instead of fluid. Oh look, now fluid's coming out. Oh yeah. Just a little bit of fluid. A little bit of fluid. And you're catching it now because you got a rag there. That's a good coincidence. Yep. Yep. I'm gonna tighten it because I think all the air came out. It should still go in. And you can go as far as you want until maybe you can't get the rubber on it. Yeah, I could always squeeze it back out if I wanted to. I think that's as far as I'm going to have to go, because whoops, you want to be able to get the rubber around it, so it needs like that much. I think I can just squeeze it in there. So I can probably back it off there. Sometimes you really have to depress the piston, press the piston in there, because you won't be able to fit like new pads on. And that's why the C-clamp method's like the only way to go. And this thing right here, it's going to be a dick.
Those streets would likely continue up and meet up with the current street pattern. Once the streets are restored, Ranelli says there should be several parcels available for mixed-use development. This is WBFO News. I'm Mark Wozniak. Support for NPR comes from Focus Features, presenting Mary, Queen of Scots, based on the true story of a rebellious young queen who will stop at nothing to reclaim her throne. Saoirse Ronan and Margot Robbie star as Warren Queens, now playing in select theaters. And the Annie E. Casey Foundation.
I think I got it down there all the way. You have to push this thing out of the way to get it to go down. Alright. Good. I still got it. Okay, and the rubber ring, whatever you want to call it, get it passed down there. This is not easy to do, by the way, while you're trying to show it on camera. My back hurts like hell. Ugh.
Responded to the news are reporters Bill Mahoney of Politico and Dan Clark of the New York Journal. It's great to see you both. Thanks for being here. Thanks. So,
a lot of times they'll just fucking pull it right off. But there we go. And you just don't want this to be getting pinched by it. I've totally seen it crush against the pad and just slice right through the boot. And then you're not really keeping any dirt and shit out of there. That sucks. Now the reassembly. Can't remember the best way to do it. Kind of a wherever you feel like doing it at the moment kind of thing. You can put this on first, and then put the pads in there, and then put this on. I think that's what I'm going to do. I should have undone this, because it's fucking up. Move this out of the way. Alright. backwards. Oh, it goes on. My bad. This goes on this way. Yeah, I've done this before. Just remember that the channels go around the rotor. Big bolts. Big bolts. If you put the same, if you have trouble getting it in, like if it doesn't go in nicely like that, try switching it with the other bolt. Sometimes they've gotten cross-threaded slightly at one time or another, and it'll just fit better. And I think you do kind of want to have it tight. I'm just going to do it hand tight. It's a good rule of thumb to do everything hand tight first. And now, I think you can think, if I look at it this way. Okay, those little things right there, they come off. Those little steel, I don't know what you call them, slides, the pad holders, whatever. They stop the pads from falling out, even though everything kind of is designed to hold it in. And let's, moment of truth, let's see if I squeeze it enough. Yes, and she lines up. All right, great. This is like the easiest fucking brake job I've ever done. I really think it's valuable. I'm hoping that somebody, oh shit, sees the value in watching this video in particular, because like it's something you got to do on every build you do. If a bike's been sitting for a year, good possibility that the brakes are fucked. And it's really simple. Like you could pay a guy a lot of money to. God damn, is this going in crooked? You want to be able to save yourself some money, and you're doing your brakes. It's super fucking easy. It's only a little bit of a pain in the dick, you know, because you gotta spend maybe 2 or 3 hours, depending on how bad they are. I started them really easy because in here they're going into the brake stay, pad, whatever you want to call it. That's aluminum. It just goes through the fork tube. And here they're going into steel. Oh, and also make sure that the little, remember how it had the notch in it and I had to use the 15 to hold it? Make sure they're going like that, because I can feel it over here. It's going like that, because like I said, I thought that the caliper would have been holding it, but that's supposed to stop it from turning while you're tightening the bolt down on it, because those are just the slides for the caliper. Bolts go into the slides, which I really like, because I've got dual piston calipers on my Nighthawk over there, and that go through it. There's 2 pins. Anyway, that wasn't a great visual. There's 2 pins, and they like fit really stiff into the caliper, and they're a bitch to get out because they just get fucking corroded and shit. And if no one's done them in a long time, you're gonna be really angry. So I didn't tighten it up too much. I want to tighten up these more. 14. Oh, yeah, by the way, that's a 12. That's an 8. That little one right there is a 10. This right here, 14. Not super tight. Not interested in going crazy tight. When you use anti-seize, remember, it increases your torque. I heard that from a guy. He seems to be full of shit, but I'll go with it. You know, old guys, I think they know everything. But you can sound cool too and say something like it's wisdom. You gotta be careful with the speedo cable, because if it's like just fucking hanging here and I'm riding it and then I just flies through the triple tree and starts dragging the ground and be pissed.
Ooh, wait. So the legislature has to vote for
I don't know.
the joint
Maybe I'll hook up the speedo on it before I
Right, because by
take a
statute,
reverse ride. I can't go for a ride, even though this thing is. After this, I should just be able to slap a battery in it and fucking go for a damn ride. But there's a sheet of ice right in front of my garage door. There's like 6 feet of no ice. That's right. Took the bike up the trailer, but there's another 15 or 16 feet of ice that go whoop into the road. The road's clear. Okay. Oh my gosh. So, let's see here. Got all these cords on this thing. I don't want to have it corded up. I'm going to throw the bike off the center stand and see how the brake feels. Oh, hold on a second. I want to seal up. Give me a minute. I want to put the cap back on the reservoir before it spills all over the fucking. So I'm just gonna show this. When you're pumping it, you see how easy it is. That's not great. It probably means that there's air in it, because there should be bubbles coming like out of that, and you probably need to come down here and bleed it like the old-fashioned way, just a little bit. I mean, because there could just be a little bubble stuck like in the fucking hole of this bleeder right here. So I'm gonna go it's like squeeze like as I'm opening it, and like close it as I'm beginning to squeeze. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to get it out, but you don't want to suck the air back in. Because as soon as you let up on the brake lever, it's gonna suck air back in. So bleeding your brake kind of goes like this. Squeeze. Oh, I went too far. It's still tight. And squeeze. 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 Get air out. Squeeze. You hear it?
In relation to passing a budget is from Governor Cuomo, who has used the word timely to describe budgets that have passed 3 hours late, 9 days late. Most people seem to think that it's probably linked to a budget that actually passes on time, but there's room for debate, and we have certainly seen weirder things happen than adjusting what time means in Planet Albany.
I think Bill summed it up perfectly. I think you're right. We've been speaking with Dan Clark of the New York Law Journal, Bill Mahoney of Politico. Thank you very much. This has been illustrative.
And I know it seems crazy. Tapping the brake line does work. I don't see any bubbles coming out of the top of the reservoir. That's here, and you hear me pumping on it. Oh, you hear a little boop. When it really goes, it's just gonna squirt. I think I feel some more pressure now.
G&L Flooring Center, celebrating more than 70 years of service to Western New York and Southern Ontario.
Big government groups and newspaper editorial boards around the state have hammered the legislature for being among the most corrupt in the nation. Reformers like
I'm getting a little more pressure now.
have been demanding reforms before lawmakers get a pay raise. So is Blair Horner happy? Well, we're going to find out today. Blair Horner is the executive director of the New York Public Interest Research Group.
Every time I'm slightly pulling it and squeezing the handle, and you hear that's getting more air out, which is good. And I'm also keeping an eye on the fluid to make sure I don't run out, because I don't want to push more air into the system.
And there's been no response. I mean, it's sort of amazing to me that it would be like Watergate happening and everybody's just sort of like walking by and not caring.
So we think it's important that they act, and the Pay Commission was an opportunity to do that. The way they construct.
I think it's moving the piston now.
Mildly amusing to me is that some legislators are complaining like this is a surprise.
Ooh, my hand. It's getting tired. Or my back is getting tired.
And they knew it was in there.
It's getting harder to push now.
They weren't agreeing to
It's starting to come out.
that has the
There we go. See?
on topics like outside income.
Yeah, no, but the language of the law.
I think that's
the
it.
law that they voted on says that,
I'm not gonna put it on crazy tight because I don't like being a dick and making it hard for somebody else to get bleeder valve off. Because I'm cleaning it. Get the brake fluid off. If you really want to clean it, throw acetone on or something, or probably WD, but just wiping it off I think is the best. Because I don't know if brake fluid evaporates. I don't really think it does. So I may not need to bleed this part. You can bleed from the top of the line. You can bleed from the bottom of the line, but you're gonna make a mess. You can bleed from this, and as long as it's pushing fluid all the way through here and there wasn't already air bubbles up at the top. But now, right there, I got some pressure. And my brake fluid went way down, so that means that it put it in. And I think now it's actually applying pressure on the pad, which is good. But gonna grab my fluid and top it off. Boop, 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 boo. My wife thought it was funny that I make funny sounds while I'm doing stuff. For stuff, I put in some of the old stuff. I shouldn't. Some other jerk can redo it or whatever. But I'm gonna put the cap on before I move it. I got anti-seize on those. The thing is, water gets past the top of this, and it just goes around the bolts, and they get totally fucked. So I feel confident that I can tighten it down now, and I won't need any more fluid in there. Not totally tight.
That's exactly right. And he's right that it will have a big impact. There's two parts of what the committee argued should be done. They said that there will be pay raise increases of some the numbers that they pick. We don't even know how they pick them.
Full.
For both the executive
And the fact that this is a stock bike means that this thing is actually sitting level. If you put cafe bars on on your bike with a reservoir like this, you won't be able to fill it up with fluid to the top level. Just so you know, a lot of retards out there probably fucking splash it all over the place. Unless you get one of the sport ones, like I got on my cafe racer, that's got the little cup that's hanging there, and it's got the little tube going to it. It's a cute little thing. They work great. I got it because specifically, because it had a bigger piston in it, a bit more bore. I gotta, I don't know if I want to move this thing, you know? Throw the camera over here for you. Front view. You get to hear the crazy fucking noise, if it makes any noise or not. See what happens here. Hope I don't knock. I'm gonna lift up the bike, get away from my gold thing. Lift up off the center stand. Scoot over. Alright, let's see what happens here. Hey! Alright, it slides free, and it's still, oh, look at that. That is a good caliper, or a clean, semi-rebuilt. I don't know if you call it a caliper rebuilt or not. I would, because it acts like it's brand new now. So, on to bigger and better things. Whew. I told you that I synced the carburetors. Now I'm at the stage. I'm gonna pick a few things off so I can make some money. I might put this windshield on my Scrambler because I got this weird feeling if I'm gonna ride it on the highway at all, I'm gonna want that fucking windshield. And if I'm selling this bike, it should look stock anyway. Might take... I thought I could sell the luggage rack, but it looks like the turn signals are built into it. This is factory. Damn, I didn't even realize that. Okay, so, and that's why I thought it was real good coincidence that they designed it to go right around it there. So, fuck me. Alright, luggage rack goes with the bike. Because the turn signals are right there, and I can't think of another way of putting the fucking turn signals on. They go right into there. That's so cute. And they move so they don't get bashed. I thought they were broken because I found it like that, and I was like, oh, it's crooked. Nope, it just moves. It's kind of nice. Alright, I'm gonna sell the toolkit. That looks brand new. That's money. Okay, and what is this? Cigarette ash. I put a fuel filter on it, so I can just kind of hold that like that, and it looks pretty okay. Fuel filter is a good idea. Might buy a new battery for it. Maybe, because then if I got a nice day, I can get out of the garage, take it for a ride, see how it is. Oh, I'll show you the fucking leak that I was talking about. It's somewhere right up in there. I think it's literally right coming out of... I've had a leak that came right out of here before, and it doesn't look like it's been there for a long time. I think the paper of the gasket's fucking paper. Tightening these won't do shit. Don't do that to try to get a gasket to seal. It was leaking while I had it running, and then I saw drips down here. It's not leaking anywhere else. The rear gasket's not leaking. There's only radiator fluid down there because I spilled it. Remember, I pulled the hose off and fucked it up? Where's that spider? Oh, I forgot about him. There's usually always oil crud down here because people either get it leaking out of there, or when they go to change their oil, they don't seal the rubber around it really good. I use Permatex gasket seal. This right here looks like ass, but I'm pretty sure the clutch works. Before I take it for a ride and before I try to put it in gear, oh, yes, I have one. Okay, here's a trick that's worthwhile for you to wait to watch this entire fucking video. I hope somebody gets this. Watch this. Oh, fuck. Alright, don't fall. Clutch. This does not hurt your motor. It will not hurt your clutch. In fact, it's good for your clutch. I'm saying this out of experience because a bike, imagine, if you know how the clutch works, your clutch basket is in here. There's a bunch of discs. They're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there's like 10 of them. Maybe 8 of them, I don't know. And they're together, being pressed together all the time. I think that's how it works. Or either that or they're like apart all the time. Well, either way, the only time it, like, if it sat forever and the lever's out, that means that they could be stuck together, and you'll go to run the bike after it sat for years and years and years, and you'll go to put it in first, and fucking fall right, it just stumbles right over itself, because when you go and push in the goddamn clutch, it's not disengaging. It's not disengaging because it's engaged when the clutch lever is out. So the only thing that pulls it apart is 4 springs that go through the clutch basket. That's part of the basket. I've had this thing apart before. You take apart this cover, 5 bolts, and then behind here, there's this little thing right there on a pinion or whatever you fucking want to call it, and there's a nut behind there, and that nut, or behind the nut and the bearing or something, the bearing, whatever, there's 4 nuts that hold down 4 springs. So when you pull the clutch, this right here is being pulled up right now. It was down before. That's allowing it to let the clutch come apart and not be engaged. The springs, if it was really stuck and you let it sit for a week, if it needed to, as long as you want, it's not gonna hurt your cable. It's designed to do. It might stretch if you had it there for like a year like that. But you keep it like that, and there's a good chance that your clutch won't be stuck. Because I had a clutch stuck clutch before on my KZ400. You remember that build? And I heard a guy say that you could do this, and I did it for a couple days, and it worked. So I'm going to do that now as a preemptive measure. Even though I think this bike runs great, it was sitting for a year or two with the clutch plates being smashed together, and this might do good. I'm not sure about the functioning of it, whatever, but it's the springs and the fact that the springs are the only thing that allow them to pull apart. I think that's it. So we're going to leave it like that, and so when I go for a ride, hopefully it'll be good. I'm going to wipe it down, make her look pretty. I've got a Speedo. I'll throw it on there. I should push it off the center stand again and see if this thing turns. I'm going to start doing some. I'll just show you. I had 3-in-1 in here. Probably should use WD-40. Because the speedometer cable, if it's been exposed like this for a long time, is rusty on the end here. And then if water was getting in it the whole time, that might mean that it's, well, okay, WD-40 is going to get the water out because it's WD's water displacement. That's what that means, I guess. And that's going to flow down in there and get it all out, lubricate it. That cable is kind of like a spring. That's like how it turns. I've had it break on me. I've had like an almost brand new one snap on me, and it's not cool. Why don't I just pull it off the center stand right now and just show you, see if it turns, because you gotta like rotate the wheel. I don't know. No, if I had a friend here, I need friends. I could just push down on the back of the bike and get the fucking wheel up off the ground, but I can't do that. Don't knock over the brake fluid. Don't knock into the gold wing. Take this thing out there. Stick it in my mouth. It was really subtle, but it did turn. So that means I'll be lucky. Remember my technique for putting it up on the center stand. Hold it by there. And whatever you do, don't bash it into another motorcycle. They'll get thrown off the center stand. I'll push it forward later. So it was really subtle, but it did turn. There's slack in it from going forwards to backwards because of the gears and everything. So that means it's good. I lubed up WD. I'll throw some oil in it too. I'll throw the Speedo on there. Looks like it's disconnected nicely, and some dicks just chop shit sometimes. It looks like, you know, it's main power, Brown's power, Green's obviously ground. These were ground. He had it covered up with like a grocery bag and shit and electrical tape. A little unnecessary. I'm gonna have to find 2 nuts. Oh, well, I will have the nuts, but mine was a deluxe, I believe, and it had exactly the same. This thing is fucking dirty. If I take off the windshield, it'll be easy to clean. All right, so you learned a little more than you knew before, and you know, a few little tricks. See you next time.